Friends, welcome back to my channel UFA Tech, and now in this video I'm going to show you how to set up a domain controller, how to promote a Windows Server 2019 as a domain controller, and join the client machine Windows 10 to a domain controller Windows Server 2019. Okay, let's get started. Now, if you have gone through my previous video on my channel UFA Tech, set up a virtual environment. So people who have gone through this video, they can relate to what I am doing right now, and they can probably set up a similar way of a virtual environment, and it would be easy for you to follow all my videos and relate to the stuff actually what I am going to do right now. So I would suggest you guys to like, subscribe, and comment to my UFA Tech channel. And before proceeding, please watch this video, how to set up a virtual environment, and later you can relate to everything. So this is my Windows Server 2019, and it has a server manager over here that I'm going to talk about as discussed in my previous video. So over here what we are going to do is this is how our Windows Server 2019 look like, and basically it is all blank as of now. If I go to tools, and I won't be able to see any sort of options to promote this as a domain controller. So now few things before we proceed, how to promote an operating system as a domain controller, a server machine as a domain controller. The very first thing is we have to make sure that we have the updated date and time as per the current time, because Active Directory and Active Directory services are very much concerned and very much specific about the time zones and the date and time. So the very first thing that I'm going to do is change the date and time and the time zone according to my time right now. So I am in India. I will change this according to my time. I will select this and it will automatically update my time right now. Okay, once this is done, you can close this. The very next step would be the method 2, that is changing the IP address. Now I'm not going to show you guys what how the actual, we are not setting up a real environment, we are setting up our testing environment. So I won't go deep into the IP address and all those stuff, and we are just setting up a test environment right now so that we get an idea how thing works on a large scale. So I will go to Ethernet over here. So there are two methods, I'll explain one by one. We will uncheck IPv6 as we are no longer going to use this as of now. We are just going to go with IPv4. So the very next step is to provide an IP address over here. So there are two methods. First, by providing IP address over here, the method 1, and another one is just going with the loop back address is the method 2. So in my case, going with the loop back address is working right now as I'm connected on a laptop and on a Wi-Fi. So probably that might be a reason. However, I will publish another video as what is the root cause as to it is not working for me with the IP address by configuring the IP address over here. So to configure this, first I'm going to go into the CMD command prompt, just type ipconfig. It will display the current IP address, your IPv4, IPv6, IPv4, subnet mask, and default gateway. So over here we are just going to type this 192.168.74.139, 192. 192.168 dot 74 dot 139. Subnet mask would be default 255, 255, 255 and 0. Default gateway would be 192, 168.74.2. And now I am going to give a loop back address over here. As I mentioned, I'm not going to go much in detail about these IP addresses right now. Just make sure you give a loop back address if this configuration is working for you when you have an Ethernet cable connected, and that would be great. And this is the recommended way that how you do this stuff. However, if I go with this one, I will be disconnected with the internet, and I will experience some issues with my network. So if I go click on OK, I'll show you how this works. And once again, I'm going to click on OK. So now you see I'm just losing my network right now, and yeah, moving forward it will also give me some sort of issues. So I'm just going to stick with this option of using a loop back address right now. But the method one that I have shown you using the following IP address option was the recommended way. I'm just going to go with this. Okay, I'm going to close this one and close this. Back to our server manager. As I mentioned, it is all blank. There is nothing or no options to add users or computers, and this is also not promoted as a domain controller yet. So the next step would be I'm going to go into my properties, and I'm going to change this computer name. Right now you see this is my current computer name. I'm going to change these settings. I am going to give a name as dc1. You can give a name whatever you want. I'm giving it a domain controller 1, dc1. Some people give dc1, some give dc2 or something like that, and I'm going with this one. Click on OK. This will ask you to restart your computer once the computer name is changed. You must restart your computer to apply these changes. So I'm going to click on OK, close, and I'll restart the computer now. All right, we are back now, and one more time, as I mentioned earlier, it should be Control Alt and Insert to log into this machine. Again, it is an administrator. I'm just going with my normal admin account right now. So as mentioned, this is again a blank domain controller or blank operating system. It is not even a domain controller yet. I have signed in, and now I'm going to go to tools, or I'm just going to go to add roles and features over here. I'm going to select next, role based or feature based installation. Click on next. You see DC1 is the updated name for my operating system right now, and I'm going with this. Next. Now select Active Directory Domain Services. As soon as you click on that, it will give you a pop-up like this. Just click on Add Features and click on Next. Keep everything as it is. Do not make any changes as of now. And click on Next. One more time, we'll just go with Next and click on Install. Now this is installing our Active Directory services on this machine. Now if you see that the feature installation is now completed, and I'm getting an option to promote this server to a domain controller. I'm just going to click this, promote this server to a domain controller, and add a new forest. Click on this option, root domain. Now you have to give it a name for your root domain. I'm just going to give it as HQ, or I'm just going to go with ufatech.com, and I'm going to click on next. Windows Server 2016, it will automatically going to change, or if not, let's keep this as it is. Now this is a password that you are going to create for your administrator, or your domain password. Directory services restore mode DSRM password. I'm going to click on next. Create DNS delegation. I'm going to keep all settings as it is. It will verify and populate my domain name that I have just provided. It may probably take the initials, that is UFA. You see, click on next. And I'm also not changing all these settings right now. I'm just keeping them as it is. Click on next once again. Here you see an option to view script. We can You can view this script, and some domain administrators and active directory administrators use this sort of script for other various purposes. If possible, I will try to make another video as to what this script does, or what is the use of this script in the future. However, as of now, you can see our domain name is given as ufa.ufatech.com, and all the configuration that we have selected earlier. You can also keep this script handy. You can copy paste the contents, or you can save this file as it is for future reference. As of now, I'm just going to keep this all these settings as it is, and I'm going to click on next. All prerequisite checks passed successfully. Click install to begin installation. I'm just going to keep them as it is. We don't have to worry about this right now, and we will proceed with the installation. Now, as you can see, the installation, this server was successfully configured as a domain controller, and it is asking us to be signed out, and it will restart the system automatically. Now we are back. I'm just going to press Ctrl Alt Insert to get into the virtual machine operating system. Now, if you see over here what I have shown you in the video earlier, it was only administrator. Now it says UFA backslash administrator. It means this computer has been successfully promoted as a domain controller. Once again, I'm just going into my account, into my server 2019 machine, which has been recently promoted as a domain controller successfully. Again, all services will be restarted since the system was restarted, and we will also see few changes in our server manager. Okay, let all services get started. Now you see you have ADDS, DNS, file and storage services. These probably are the two other options that we have that has been recently introduced after we have promoted this Windows Server 2019 as a domain controller. Now if I click on tools, I can see various options like Active Directory sites and services, Active Directory users and computers, and some other options as well. So it proves that this has been successfully promoted as a domain controller. Now if I go to Active Directory users and computers, I should be able to see my domain that I have configured ufa.ufatech.com. Under computers, I do not have any computer joined to this machine as of now. Neither do I have any sort of users. Now let's create a new user. This would be a very first user, probably a CEO of your company or your organization. I'm just going to give it a name as admin, initials AD, last name, you can just skip the last name if you want, and give as admin as a logon name. Click on next, and I'm going to give it a password. And I'm just going to uncheck this, click on next, click on finish. Now I have created a user in my Active Directory, but there are no computers connected to this. And through this Active Directory, now that I have promoted this as a domain controller, I am going to show you how I am going to control the other operating systems or other computers using this domain controller. Now I have over here a domain controller, Windows Server 2019 as a domain controller. And another machine I have over here is Windows 10. Now I'm going to show you how I'm going to connect this Windows 10 machine to this Windows Server 2019. Similarly on a client machine, now I'm going to call it as a client machine. The very first step over here as well, I'm going to change the date and time zone of this computer as well. It might be currently set up with a Pacific time, and I'm now going to change it to my time zone. Yes, let's go ahead and select your time. This is very important because Active Directory services and Active Directory is more concerned, very much concerned about the time and the time zones. So this has been set, and I'm going to close. In a very similar fashion, I'm going to change this computer name as well. As I've shown you that there were no computers reflecting over there in my Active Directory, go over here, computer name, change. Now I'm going to give it a name as CL1, that is client 1, and I'm going to select this as a domain, and the initials of my domain were UFA. I'm going to click on OK. It should give me a pop-up to enter my credentials, that is administrator credentials that we have recently created in our domain on our domain controller. Yes. OK. I should be getting an error of the IP address because I have not yet provided the IP address of my domain controller over here. As I mentioned, the error occurred, the network path was not found because we have not yet configured the IP address of this system. This is my client machine that I'm going on, and here is the Ethernet Network and Sharing Center. Ethernet. Once again, I am just going to uncheck the IPv6 from here, and in the IPv4 properties use the following DNS. This is my client machine, so I am going to provide a DNS IP address of my server machine over here. So my server machine's IP address was 192.168.74.139. I'm going to click on OK, click on close, click on close, close this as well. I'm going to close this as well. UFA. Now once again, let's see. Okay, this will again needs to be restarted. I believe this system will be rebooted right now once it is successful. The username or password is incorrect. Okay, let me give a one more try. You see the dialog box over here, welcome to the UFA domain. So now this is also connected to my UFA domain, to a domain controller. I'm just going to click on OK. It will again will ask to restart my computer. I'm going to click on OK, close, and restart now. We have now successfully promoted a server 2019 as a domain controller, and now we have also joined this Windows 10 machine to a domain controller successfully. So now we have restarted our Windows 10 machine as well. So you see client 1 over here, and I can probably also go into log in with my admin credentials that I have created, probably a user that I have created, and you can also say sign into UFA. So that this means that this machine is now connected to my domain controller, and I'm just going to log in with my user account that I created on my domain controller. Admin AD is the name that I have provided to this user. We have successfully promoted a domain controller Windows Server 2019, and successfully joined a client machine Windows 10 to a domain controller. Now all the stuff that I will do using a group policy will be reflected on this Windows 10 machine. In my next video, I am going to show how this is going to work in a very practical way. Over here, I will also show you how you can re-verify that CL1 client machine is now actually connected to my domain controller. If I go over here and click on Server Manager, Tools, and Active Directory Users and Computers, under my domain, under Computers, you will see CL1. CL1 was the Windows 10 machine that I have configured as a client machine, and I have successfully joined that CL1 computer over here. So in my next video, I will show you how to create a group policies and how I can play around with this stuff. I will apply a group policy from this server, and it will be applied on the CL1 client machine. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for my next video, and wherein I'm going to show you how to apply a group policy, how to create a GPO, a group policy object, and apply through a domain controller on a client machine. See you in the next video, guys. Thank you very much. Bye.